So, the formula chart, there are two sides. One side is angles and arcs. One side is segments, okay? Now, the segment side is the only side that we've talked about. It's the only side that we've learned. So this is the only side we can use right this second. Right here, these first two are what we talked about on Monday. So on the first little box, what does this sign mean? What? Perpendicular. Okay? Perpendicular. Perpendicular means shh. Perpendicular means that when the radius, or what it means that it like makes a 90-degree angle, but specifically for this, it's when your radius and your tangent intersect, it makes a 90-degree angle. So that's what this is telling you. And we use this rule. We talked about this on Monday. When we connect C and B or C and A, what do we make? Right triangles. And then once we have those right triangles, we can now use Pythagorean theorem. The next thing we talked about on Monday was when two tangents intersect. So right here, we have AB intersects BC. And what does our formula chart tell us about when two tangents intersect? They're equal. Okay, so we talked about that on Monday. This next part, this is what we're talking about today. Down here, area will not be on this test. This will be in the next unit. Circumference, we did talk about that. So there's your circumference equations. Arc length, we're talking about that tomorrow. We did talk about standard equation of a circle. So all of this stuff is stuff that we have talked about for the most part. Now, let's go to what we're talking about today. So it says we have three different types of lines that intersect. We already talked about tangent intersecting tangent. The next one we're going to talk about is chord intersecting chord. Okay? So right here, we have two chords. My first chord is this piece right here. What are the two parts of that chord? A and B. The relationship that we have right here is that we have A times B. If I were to do A times B, that would be equal to the product of my other two, like the other parts of my other chord. So right here, I have my other chord, which is C and D. And I'm going to take those two parts and multiply them together. They have to be from the same chord. Does that make sense? Okay, you cannot do C times A or C times B. It has to be same chord equals same chord times same chord. So, part times part equals part times part. Are we good? Okay, so that's if two chords are intersecting. How do we know that these are chords?
Because it's like
Yeah. Chords are inside the circle. Okay, end point on the circle, end point on the circle. That's a chord right there. So both parts are inside. Okay, so then we go into this picture right here. And what type of lines do I have here? These are not tangents. What are these? These are both secants. Secants go through the circle, okay? Secants have part of it inside, part of it outside. Chords, all inside. So right here, I'm going to give you kind of like an explanation of this relationship, and then we'll put like the A, B, C, D inside of it. So when you have two secants, you're going to do the outside piece times the whole secant. And that should be equal to your other secant, and you're going to do the outside piece to the whole secant. These are ratios and proportions. They're just like basically already cross multiplied out, but this is how we would set this up. So let's go to our first secant, okay? So if I was going to look at my top secant right here, what is the outside piece of my secant? A. That right there is the outside piece. What is my whole secant? A plus B, not A times B. We talked about this Monday also, and I still had a ton of people multiplying those. When we are finding the length of a whole line, we add the parts together. We do not multiply the parts together. So right here, this is A times A plus B. Okay? So then we need to do my second secant. So my second secant has the parts C and D. So how could we, what would be my outside piece? C is the outside piece. What is my whole part? C plus D. So my formula or my relationship is going to be C times C plus D. So you take the inside piece, you take the outside piece, and you add them together to get the whole. Okay, are we good?
Yes, ma'am.
So that's two chords intersecting. That's two secants intersecting. Now, we want to look at our last relationship, which is what?
Secants and tangents.
Secants and tangents. Perfect. Secants and tangents. So right here, I have one secant and I have a tangent. Now, this is going to be the same relationship that we just did. We're going to do outside times whole. I'm just going to, instead of putting outside, I'm just going to put out equals outside times whole. So we have that same relationship. Huh? Hold on. Don't, you're getting ahead, but yes. Okay. So now what we're going to look at. Okay. Let's start with our secant because we've kind of already talked about that, right? So what's the outside piece of my secant? B. So that's just going to be B. What's my whole? B plus C. That's your whole secant right here. Now, when we look at the tangent, okay? When we look at the tangent, what part is outside?
A.
What is the whole tangent? A. That is doubled up, right? The outside piece is the whole line. So what happens here when I do this, it turns into A squared because what we have is we have the outside is A, the whole is A. So this is equal to A squared, or we could even say tangent squared, okay? Now, this is the relationship right here. What we are going to do now, the rest of the class period is going to be you going through this and just practicing all of these relationships. Because what I learned very quickly on Monday is if I'm like, hey, try this, what some of y'all do is y'all just wait until I put my work up on the board and then you copy my work down. Guess what? You learn nothing that way. Also, it does not help for me to teach you what I'm thinking, right? Going, I would do this next, and this is the next step. That's me thinking for you. So what we're going to do is you're going to take all these rules, all these relationships, and you're going to work through all of these problems. And all I'm going to give you is the actual answer to check your work. So that means that if you got it wrong, you did something wrong, and I will help you. So answers are going to be on the board. Work will not be on the board because I want you to do this on you just have to be by yourself. You can talk to other people, but it does not help me and it does not teach you to critically think and work through problems when I'm just showing you my thinking process, okay? So I'll have the answers, I'll slowly put the answers up so that you can check your work as you go. I will not answer questions that say, I don't know how to do this. No. I need a question like, did I set this up right? Did I fill, like, is this the right thing to fill in? Like, or do all the work and say, where did I mess up? Instead of going, I don't know how to do this. I'm just going to walk away and go, okay, ask a friend or figure it out or something. I need specific questions, okay? So rest of class period is for you to work and start working through this on your own or with people or whatever you need to do, okay? Oh, no, hold on. Just give me a second.
Sorry, he's very feisty. My palm is